Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Unraveled. I am Kristen Fehrenbach, the Senior Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market here at Pax8. Super excited to have everybody back. I am in Denver for the second week in a row. They got me a nice little studio here, guys. So very excited to be back with you. Please make sure that you are liking, subscribing, sharing all of this content, because today we are going to have Eliott Chandler back on. He is part of our global team. He supports our Azure business, but we're really going to dive in and talk specifically about Microsoft certifications. But before we get to that, as always, we want to go through some important updates. So first things first, Azure abusive consumption. I wanted to make sure we got that right because it's super important for us to talk about. We need you to turn on a few things, and this is going to be super important. And I know you as Pax8 partners already have these on. This should just be a slight reminder. So first, phish-resistant MFA. Multi-factor authentication, guys. It is so important. This needs to be enabled. So please make sure that this is on. It's just going to keep you safe. As we continue to go through this, we've talked about MFA in a bunch of different segments. That's not going to go away. But as this abusive consumption is continuing to come up, we just want to make sure that we are calling these out. So phish-resistant MFA. Next, we want to make sure that we are adding a security contact, and whoever that is going to be the one that's going to get the notification. So make sure that those two things are done. And lastly, billing alerts. That is the final one, because if anything wild is happening, you're going to get just a quick notification that's going to say, hey, this looks odd. Please make sure that all three of those are done. We might talk about it a little more. We're also going to talk about it on our Microsoft February webinar. Please make sure you subscribe to that. We want to have you there. We've got so much content, and these are going to be reoccurring monthly webinars that Microsoft, we are bringing to you directly from Pax8. It's really just to really break things down. There's so much that's going on. GDAP's getting pushed out, whatever it is. We want to make sure that you are always in the loop. So next, Beyond is coming up. We just went through and posted all of our agendas. And so I want to make sure that it is June 11th and 13th. I'm skipping ahead. I got really excited about Beyond, everybody. So I am really, really excited about this. They just went through and pushed out the agenda. So make sure you're going to pax8.com/events. We want you to check that out. But before Beyond comes, is actually our Microsoft Security Bootcamp. So this is going to be in Kansas City. It's live. Please make sure that you are reserving your spot. This did sell out when we did it last year. So if you're not getting in, you're not getting registered, you are going to miss the opportunity. So please make sure that you come and join us. I will be there, and I look forward to seeing everybody. But I do want to go ahead and introduce Eliott. Good to see you again.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Excellent. So they might have missed the first session. It's been a little bit since you've been on. Tell us a little bit about yourself quickly and what you do here at Pax8. And, what is your favorite acronym, Eliott?
Oh, okay, right. We have to address this, do we? Okay, first of all, yes, Eliott Chandler. I'm our global director of our Azure go-to-market business. The acronym thing. Okay, Microsoft have a lot of acronyms. It's understandable to forget a few. And there was a camera thrusted in my face last week, and they were firing acronyms at me, and I could have done better. Okay, I take it. It's fine.
He's like, it's fine. I'm fine. We're all fine.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about Microsoft certifications, and we've talked a lot about MCPP, and that's Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. Talking about acronyms, we automatically get right in there with that one. So we talk a lot about MCPP, and certifications are a huge part of that program. So I want to really go through and, first off, Eliott, why do people care about these Microsoft certifications besides getting something cool to post on LinkedIn?
That's reason number one, right? You get a shiny badge, you post it on LinkedIn. That's the only way to know you've got credibility in the tech world, right? Is a list of badges for, you can open up a coat and just have them all hanging.
Hey, I think I'm up to 7 now, okay? I'm up to 7.
You might be beating me now. Okay, fair enough.
Ooh.
Badges are up there, to be honest, but there's a bunch of reasons. So you mentioned MCPP a minute ago. So that's the Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But there are a lot of kind of higher accreditations that organizations as a whole can go and achieve. And in order to hit those milestones, each individual at the organization needs to be getting certified in the relevant areas, right? But it's kind of a step beyond that as well in terms of just the effectiveness of your unit, right? So we have sellers, we have technical staff, and the breadth that spans across even our marketing team nestled in the middle, right? That's someone that often gets forgotten, and there value in getting them certified. And I've seen firsthand that kind of is, right, is making sure that when someone, especially from my perspective as the Azure lead, right, when someone says the word Azure, we don't just reach for the nearest techie with the most certs. We have enough, understanding and experience to hold
Sure.
our own in those conversations. It's a big one.
So, I mean, there's obviously there's architect, there's
Hmm.
AZ 104, there's all kinds of fundamentals. I mean, do you have to be
Yep.
super techie to get some of these certifications? And I feel like since I have 7, that might be the leading indicator
That's an
here.
indicator, right? Yeah. No, you don't, right? And I think that's the other thing is there's content out there, especially as we get to like the certification conversation for everybody, right? So even me in my previous role at Microsoft, I was a technology strategist, right? And that was a
Right.
technical breadth role by definition. So I had to know enough in each area to be dangerous. Was kind of how I always pitched myself, right? I can hold my own around a boardroom table, but if you let me loose on an admin console, I'll mess some stuff up. But what do you do when you need to certify someone like that, right? And that was the challenge. And things like our foundation certifications, so like Azure Fundamentals, the M365 Fundamentals, they're super approachable, and they're something that I recommend for sellers and marketing to be able to just hold their own in that conversation. And I feel like it really helps you just understand the breadth of any given topic, right? And I feel like the the biggest piece of advice I give to any sellers and marketeers as well is you don't always have to know all of the answers, but it's really handy to know the right questions. And the fundamentals exams are really, really good at helping you just understand the breadth of what you're going to come into contact with and how to make sure that you're holding your own in those conversations. And fundamentals are absolutely where I'm at. I've got almost
You've
all of
got
the
to start
fundamentals and
there.
they're great. Yeah, you do.
So, it's funny. So when I was originally at Microsoft, I was a Surface seller in the very beginning. So, I
Yep.
mean, I knew a lot about the devices. I could go all day.
Yep.
That was great. All of a sudden they said, "Hey, Kristen, you know what? You're going to start selling cloud." And I was like, "Oh, like the cloud?" And I knew that I really had to start skilling up. And so the first place I started was Microsoft 365. So I wanted to make sure Modern Workplace,
Hmm.
just because that was the first avenue that we were really going into. So that's the way
Yep.
that I started. I mean, I feel like because you're the Azure lead, you're going to say Azure. But if you
Azure's
take
the
that
best.
out,
Yeah.
if you
You
take
can't take
that
that out.
out,
It's the best.
look, I passed it the second time. It wasn't the easiest one, and
Okay.
that was my first dip into Azure, and I
Yeah.
feel like it gave me that credibility to actually, like, be able to really follow the conversations from the marketing perspective that we were really
Mhm.
looping into.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say something here, and I feel like after the jab of the acronyms at the beginning, there's only so many lives I can use up on this podcast before you throw me off. But the the modern workplace fundamentals exam, I failed that first time around as well, right? And that was as a Microsoft employee dealing with M365 inside and out, right? And it's a really good way to kind of just test the foundations, right? It's the fundamentals exam. It's exactly for that, and I feel like meeting your customers where they're at is super important, right? And these exams take you through very, very gradually the things that you need to be able to understand when it comes to interacting with your customers with any of that technology, right? I have the Dynamics, I have the modern workplace, I have the Azure. There's no limit, right? And I'm terrified of Dynamics, but I still did the work and I still got the cert, right? And that's the
I
thing. I
passed
don't
that
think
one the
there's a bad
first time,
place.
Elliot.
You did? I
I
think
don't
I did
know
too,
if
actually.
if Matt Batterby's watching, like, I passed
Yeah,
Dynamics the first time. So,
yeah,
I think it really just gives you that overlay to be able to say, "Look,
yeah,
it wasn't just, hey, what's included in Office, PowerPoint, wait, like that is not what is
yeah.
included in the fundamentals. It really goes through,
No,
Intune. Azure's always just kind of interwoven into that conversation anyway.
yeah.
So I know that when we start talking about certifications and classes and
Hmm.
courses, they can be so pricey. So I do want to also call that out because I feel like sometimes that can be a barrier to entry. So I know
Hmm.
that they definitely range, but I mean, one, can you give me just like a cost estimate on what these costs? Because obviously the architecture
Yeah.
ones costs a little bit more. And then are
Yeah.
there any discounts, vouchers, half offs, buy one, get one free for, if you fail the first one?
Yeah, so they range massively from exam to exam because a lot of them have like different requirements just in terms of the tech that's needed. Some of them need sandboxes and all that stuff, and that carries a cost with it. But the way I always start is with the fundamentals, right? They're about $99 a pop, and you start out and they're relatively easy to go, and they kind of scale up from there. But your kind of entry level certs are $99, and the thing to remember about a lot of these exams as well is they're not just take them once and you've got them forever. There's a renewal process, so they do expire. The good thing about that is that the renewal is free. So you'll get notified when your
So,
certs
and
expire.
I think that we have to call this part out too. So the fundamentals don't
Yeah,
expire, but like AZ 104 and
correct.
the higher level ones do.
Yes. Yeah, so that's gonna
Perfect.
be typically there's a vary, but again, associate, expert, and then the specialty exams, those will all expire. And that's
Got it.
just simply because the technology changes so often, whereas the fundamentals covers a lot of like the concepts that you're gonna understand about cloud and each of the technologies, that sort of stuff. It doesn't change too much. There are always changes. But when it comes
Sure.
to the associate, expert, and then the specialty exams, that content will change monthly, right? So putting like a ticking clock on that renewal helps you kind of just stay fresh with all the newer stuff. And the renewal exams aren't, I mean, I don't want to take anyone's, credit away, but they're not as hard as the full exam, right? Microsoft understand that they're not putting you through the whole exam process like you were before. It's like an online renewal. You'll get a notification
Like,
like
hey,
6
you
months
already
before.
got this, but we're just
Yeah.
making sure that you're still here with us.
Like, "Hey, what's this acronym?" And you're like, "Oh, no." Yeah,
Oh
I
God,
understand that too real. Yeah, exactly. What does SQL stand for?
it's great.
Yeah, exactly. So, making sure that you just got those is super important because it avoids that cost, and the cost was kind of
Sure.
that important thing we raised, and you get a 6-month window. So if you'll get an email to say, "Hey, your cert's expiring," and as long as you take the renewal exam between any time in that 6 months, there's gonna be no cost for that. In terms of certs and
Easy.
things, we'll touch on, virtual training days a little bit later.
Okay.
But that's a great way to get a free exam. So they'll put on virtual training days, and then you
Okay.
get to take the exam absolutely for free. And then Pax8 every
And
now
that's
and then
is that
we have
that's
vouchers
through
too.
Microsoft Direct?
That's Microsoft Direct, yes.
Excellent, excellent.
And then
So
Pax8 will occasionally wiggle some vouchers in as well. So we work
we
really
really
closely with
try.
Microsoft.
We
Yeah,
really
it's
try.
tough.
So if anybody at Microsoft's watching this, we need some more vouchers for our partners, okay? So
Yeah, exactly.
where do people go to get these certifications? Because I know there's 2
Mhm.
different options here, and I mean, not everybody could be close to maybe where they should be going, like a testing center per se. So what are their options
Right.
when you look at, "Hey, you know what? I've done the study guide, now I'm ready for the exam." What
Yep.
is that next step?
So you said it right. So you can go into some of the certification centers. I've actually never set foot in a certification center, not once. It's
I
just not
haven't
convenient for me.
either.
Yeah, it's not the way I like to do things. I'm a work from home remote user. I've got the camera set up, so you can take them from home. There is a long list of criteria you need to meet. So the exam like area needs to be completely blank. Nothing on the walls, nothing under your desk. They'll get you to spin the camera around, show that there's no one like under your desk passing you notes and stuff. But you can take them from home, but they will properly check out where you're taking that exam. But it's super convenient. So
Yeah, no, I definitely remember going into my first certification and it was like, "Can you take a picture of here, 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 and here?" And they, like, called me and I
yeah,
had to show
yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
around and I had to close the window. I had to unplug my television, which was
Yep,
not on.
MTV Crib style. You show them what's in the fridge and everything. Yeah,
It's really what it felt like. So,
yeah, it's
I
nuts.
think that it also, like, we kinda joke about, we're having to take all these weird photos, but it protects the integrity of
Mhm,
these certifications because we all know that when you see the certification, it's not, "Hey, you know what? Somebody actually just logged in as you and took it
mhm,
because you've scanned your ID, you've uploaded these photos." You know that it's legit that this person at least has whatever level of knowledge of that certification.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. And BMC in chat, I said the renewals, they're open book, right? So, it's hard to fail a renewal. I've seen it happen, but it's hard to fail the renewal. So
You're
stay
gonna
on top
say
of
that
those.
too loud, and
And
it's gonna
I'm
be
gonna
a
be the
bad
one that
thing.
fails one, right?
It
Yeah,
will be.
exactly.
It will be. Oh my
But
gosh.
this is the thing, if you miss that renewal window and you end up sitting the full exam, it's a lot harder, right? So just stay on top of your renewals is my recommendation. It's free for one, and then you avoid that kind of need to do the full study and exam style sitting of it.
Okay. So, I think I wanna really talk about the different resources because
Okay.
somebody can be coming into this and saying, you know
Yep.
what, this is just a lot of information. There's
Oh,
so
yes.
many different things. You start Googling it, binging it,
Mhm.
whatever you want to do here, right? All of a
I actually
sudden,
do
there's
use Bing.
do you really?
I get Microsoft reward points. It's free money. That's a free
Okay, I
Xbox
did
game at the
get
end of the year.
Rob, we need to use Bing. We need to just start
Uh,
using Bing.
I'm just surprised. Never mind.
I love it. I genuinely use it. I like it. It's free Microsoft points.
So, but like, okay, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna say like, okay, MS 900, which is the Microsoft
Mhm.
fundamentals. So fun fact, any 900 exam is fundamental. So when I go in and I type that in, there's a
Yep.
lot of things that cost a lot of money. Like, what kind of
Mhm.
resources should people be using? Are there best ones that
Yeah.
you've seen?
Yeah, so I'd start out with the in Pax8 Academy, we have the MCPP Microsoft Cloud Partner Program breakdown. So that's where I kind of start, right? So this is our internal portal where we run through what all the criteria are for MCPP and security. Oh, I've got someone trying to deliver something to my house right now. If anyone heard
Is
that
that the
doorbell.
tattoo?
No, it's not. If they break out a tattoo gun, it's not happening. I'm not getting a
That could be
Microsoft
it. I
tattoo.
don't know. I saw in there that
So
it said
if you
good luck
manage to
with the
organize,
tattoo, and
and
then the doorbell went. So I mean, it might be somebody showing up. So we'll
I
see.
mean,
Stay tuned.
if you put that amount of effort in, quite frankly, you've earned it at this point, and I will just submit to the tattoo. Um, no, yeah. So within our own academy portal, we have the MCPP kind of matrix guide, which kind of goes through all of the individual solutions partner designations, so security, modern work, biz apps, data and AI, infrastructure, and then the digital app innovation. And then from there, it will tell you which exams you need to go sit. So the graphic you now see on screen, this is the Microsoft certification guide. So it breaks down by cloud area what certifications you can go and sit. So you'll see a bunch of stuff in here around all the different exams, all of the different levels where you'll sit. It's a lot, right?
I look at this and I'm just like, I was like, man, I'm doing so good with my 7 certifications, and then this
Yeah.
thing comes up, and I don't feel
hmm
that good about my 7.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So it changes so often. So that was the Microsoft certification poster. So you can get to that through aka.ms/cert poster. That's like
Yes.
the place to go, because whenever the exams change, that's what you can go and see. And the
And
really
can't
good
you
thing
just
about
click on it? So when you go to it, can't you just click and it goes to resources?
Yeah, so you've got the resources, and it also tells you as well. I don't know if you've got to zoom in on that graphic, but it'll tell you exactly which ones have prerequisites and then which exams are expert level certs. So you have a bunch of extra. There you go. Look, oh, so smooth. Look at that. Background team are doing the work today. So this
But
is
wait, there's
the.
more.
Oh my God, there's more. Is there more graphics?
Oh,
So
you
this will
bet
actually tell
there
you.
is.
Oh, okay. I'm on board. So this was the individual breakdown on Azure, because I'm the Azure guy, right? So you can then, oh my God, you guys have done the work. This zooms in and you can see on the right-hand side, you've got 2 splits out. So there's a prerequisite to this exam to make sure that there's 2 components that you sit before you get the cert. So you've got the number of exams and then the cert on top. So amazing graphics to help explain my point as I kind of rambled my way around it. It was 10 out of 10 support from the team behind the scenes. So this is where you kind of get each individual piece. You can see if there's a prerequisite to the exam that you're taking. So if there's multiple components, and then you can see which ones are expert level certs with the golden star as well. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can go in and start picking out. There
So
you
I
go.
just want to
Another
make
zoom
sure.
in with a
So
star.
if it
Beautiful.
says like one plus the other, right? So
Mhm.
is it saying that you need to take 3 certs, or is it just saying you take one plus the other and that equals this
2
other one?
exams
What does
equals a
that
cert.
mean?
Yeah, so
Okay,
the ones underneath are exams. They don't all come with certs, and then the certification is the top. So typically, when you start getting to the expert level certs, that's when you have multiple exams to go and get that certificate.
got it. So
So there's a lot.
technically, you could really do 2 certifications and get 2 tests, 3 certifications. Is that what I just?
No, 2
Did
tests,
I just
1 cert.
confuse us all? There we
Yeah,
go.
you did a little bit. Yeah, you want extra certs. You've been trying to build up on your 7, right? That's that
I
Kristen
was
level
like,
math.
hey,
I
what's the
like that.
easiest way to like? Hey, I'll just take 2 tests and get 18
Yeah.
certifications. I don't know what just
No,
happened there.
this is one of those occasions where 1 + 1 = 1. Yeah,
All right, well, that's
unfortunately.
fair. We're
Yeah.
gonna get there. So the Microsoft training days, I can't.
Yes. Yep. Honestly, it gets a lot. If the Microsoft acronyms weren't enough, the Microsoft math is even worse. Okay,
Yes, it
it
is.
gets there. Yeah.
So they put on training days, right? So you can go
Mhm.
in, you sign up for these. You're saying that you get a free exam certification. Is that just the fundamental
Yep.
level?
No, so any of the training days, so it depends on what they put on. So it's always at Microsoft's discretion, but what they'll put on training days specifically to get you ready to take certain exams. And then the usual incentive that they add for those training days is, hey, once you've come in, consume the content, and we've pushed you through, we're confident you're going to go pass, so we'll give you the exam vouchers to go and sit this exam. So they're honestly a really great way to make sure that you're enabling your team without racking up cost. And then the link for that as
I don't
well.
see why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, right, exactly. So the link for that one is another aka.ms. So all of the Microsoft links are aka.ms, but that's just / virtual training days. That'll take you in. You can see what days they've got available. And then you can, we've put it down below. Look at that. Oh, magic. Down below or off to
The
the
team
side.
in the
depending on
back
how you
end
set
is
up your
really
YouTube,
doing
right?
it today.
Yeah, they're earning brownie points today. They even fixed your mic earlier.
Hey, I know. Now we're all talking. We're having a great time. So, okay, look,
Rob's face
as
at the broken mic. I'm sorry. You did good.
I know.
We
We've
do
had
what we
some
can.
we've had some technical issues today. I mean, it's like we work for a tech company, right? So
Sometimes.
as we fumble through these,
Mhm.
I always want to make sure that these are aligning to a purpose. And I think it's
Yes.
important that we just kind of talk about MCPP, Microsoft Cloud Partner Program, for just a moment, because
Yep.
a lot of the certifications aren't actually included in
Mhm.
MCPP.
Yeah.
So, I mean, should we use that maybe as a roadmap for our partners? Because I know that, with silver and gold going away, we're going to
Yeah.
have to start transitioning into designations. So that's even us here at
Mhm.
Pax8. So currently we are skilling up employees. We're going through everything. We're doing the same thing. So would you use that
Mhm.
as a roadmap?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on what your objective is, right? So the MCPP designations that Microsoft have. So this is security, modern work, biz apps, data and AI, infrastructure, and digital and app innovation. I definitely don't have those written down. I completely remember them. And but the criteria for them changes, right? So we mentioned the Pax8 Academy tool earlier, which breaks down what's required in terms of like customer deployments and spend in that area, as well as the certification requirements as well, right? So it really depends what it is that you're trying to achieve. So some of these might be a little bit out of reach for some partners because of the number of like certified architects and things like that you need. So my recommendation is start just by building out the plan and understand where you need to go, right? I think everyone at some point has had a New Year's resolution that they just woefully fail, and those that write it down succeed more. It's stupid, but it works. You write it down, you succeed more. So when it comes to Azure Certs, it's no different. Build a plan. Understand who in your organization you need to go certify. Understand
Okay.
exactly what level you need them to certify by, and build that plan around it. And you can use the MCPP program as your foundation to build towards that if that's what you want to go and achieve. Some people just want to make sure that their sales team and marketing team are certified. So they split it by just the amount of staff, some in Modern Workplace, some in Dynamics, some in Azure, right? And they just get those certifications. But having the plan is half the battle, right? It's so tough to go in, and there's so many partners I've spoken to, and they say, look, hey, I want to just chat to you about certs. We're finding it really difficult. So I joined the call and I asked them, okay, what's going on? What's your plan, and where are we failing? And even the what's your plan question comes as a surprise. And that's where you're
So
failing,
now
is
I
you
know
don't have
why
a
my
plan.
New Year dry January did not work out. I should have written it
That may have been my
down
fault
and
too.
then
Yeah.
not done the glass of wine. So, we're going to
Yeah.
write down the plan next time. It's going to work out. So I do want to make sure. So they don't have, I know, it's fine. So do you have to do the fundamental before you say do like AZ 104? So that's the associate level Azure. I mean, the fundamentals aren't prereqs to get into the associates.
No, they're not. So some certifications, sorry, do have prerequisites. So you have to pass one exam to unlock the other. The fundamentals aren't usually the ones that you need to take beforehand. I would highly recommend it. I've had some like architect level team members learn new things from the fundamentals, right? And I think that's the thing that's really interesting, is to just check your foundation from time to time. I can see Dom in chat saying it's going to be a bandwidth today, right? This is it. Dom, I'm curious, how many certs do you think Dom's got? Dom's a certification heavy kind of guy, right? He must be in double digits.
In the
Easily.
Microsoft world, I'm gonna say 5.
Really?
Just
I'm
throwing out
putting him in
numbers at
double
this point.
digits even in Microsoft. Yeah. You've got
All right,
7.
we'll find out. I know, right? If I've got 7, Dom's probably, yeah, he's got 5. We're going with 5. This is my
Yeah.
final answer. So,
All right.
no, I think that, one, write it down. I think that's great advice,
Mhm.
because when
Yeah.
you're mapping out the strategy, you have to make sure that, okay, I'm going to have these people start here. I'm going to have these people start here. And it's important to make sure that you're diversifying because
Yes.
as we did talk about, the fundamentals are that really just widespread. Hey, you know what? Do you know about the overarching programs? Because when I talk to, say, our engineers, things like that, they're obviously really in the details, right? And they are
Yes.
so focused in on this one thing that sometimes they're not always looking all the way up. So, I think it's all about just the different strategy that businesses are wanting to take based on maybe the way that they want to grow, or
Yep.
maybe they only sell Modern Workplace and they want to start transitioning into Azure a little.
Oh, you're reading my mind. I love this. Yeah. So, we talk a lot about this one cloud approach, right? Making sure that
Yeah.
you understand the breadth of what the cloud can deliver for your customers. And I'm the Azure guy, so please forget that I said this the moment it leaves my mouth. Customers don't just want Azure. They don't want Azure just on its own. So you need to understand the breadth that the cloud can offer. So, right, certifying that your team's in Azure, Modern Work, Dynamics, Power Platform, the whole stack of biz apps, right? So how are we making sure that we're equipping our team to have that whole cloud conversation so that you don't pen yourself into just talking about Modern Work or just talking about Azure, because they'll ask a question that doesn't sit in that wheelhouse and you'll find yourself scrambling, right? So how are you making sure that you do diversify the knowledge across your team and you've got people that can handle that conversation? Because the MSP landscape is shifting, right? It's not the day where we can pick a solution off a shelf and sell that one thing. We need to kind of build with value, and that comes with cross cloud. So making sure that we can certify absolutely everything. So I think my 10-second takeaway is just build that plan, understand what you're working towards, use the Microsoft Cert poster to understand where you need to go, what has prerequisites, what's locked, because that's a minefield in itself. And then once you've done that, pick out the training that's going to get you there. Use those virtual training days, use Pax8 Academy, use all of the wealth of resource that we have available, right? Our team is so heavily certified, it makes my eyes water. So where we've got that learning gap in the short term, use Pax8, and then we'll help get you where you need to be so that you can take it next time, right? There's so much.
Was that a
out there,
professional
I think.
services plug?
Pro services, come do the thing. Yeah, very much so. The pro services team are incredible. They put me to shame every single time I'm on a call with them. The stuff that they know is mind-blowing. So where we don't have the skills in-house, sometimes it's not realistic to get there, right? You can't have architects and everything, but we can. We'll try our best. So that's the thing, right? Is making sure you understand where your gaps are, if it's worth filling those gaps, and if it's not, where can you supplement? And that's exactly the value of Pax8, right?
And you know what? It's just technology is changing, and I think even the way that partners are selling is changing. It's not a break fix world. Oh God,
You made it.
it's not a break fix world. I did. I made it through it. Whew. It's not a break fix world anymore, and I think we're really moving into solution selling, which means saying, "Hey, I'm identifying key issues that I see in your business, and what is the game plan to build and get you out of that?" And I think these certifications just open that door.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm going to say this again. I said this on the Azure Bootcamp, and I feel like I'm betraying myself when I say it. Oh God, no customer wants to buy Azure. They don't care that it's on Azure. They just want the thing that it solves. They want the value that it delivers. So it's up to you as the MSP to understand the vehicle that is Azure and what you can put on that and how you can deliver that to customer. And the only way you're going to really be able to give that answer is by understanding Azure and the other clouds, right? So they don't want to buy Azure. They don't care, but you need to be certified enough to go and have that conversation, right? And now please forget that I said that immediately. And
Hey,
go
but
sell Azure.
Eliott, they
Yes.
want Azure over AWS, and that's what's important here.
Yes, nailed it. There it is. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Eliott, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always good having
Anytime.
you on, and I look forward to having you on the next time.
Happy to be here. And I didn't get tattooed, which is good. No one broke through my window.
I
with a
know. I
tattoo
mean,
gun.
we got the doorbell to go, though, so I feel pretty good about that. So thanks
I'm
for
a little
being
scared
here.
about that. Yeah.
Down in the comments, please put what else do you want to see in Technically Unraveled? We are continuously just building out agendas and schedules. We've got some special guests that are going to come on, like Ryan Walsh. Super excited to have him on in a few weeks. We're going to talk about incentives and rebates. But please put what you want to see down in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you all again next week. Bye, guys. Thank you.